Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Team Liquid and Virtus Pro. We're going to be having this coming up in just a moment here. Been waiting it out a little bit. We just saw an awesome series between Alliance and Fnatic. Alliance, I'm not going to spoil it in case you didn't catch it. But nevertheless, the winner of this match will be facing down the winner of the previous one in the winners bracket finals, whereas the losers will of course drop down and have to fight it out to see who's going to be eliminated outright. But either way, this is going to be an interesting series here. We have Team Liquid, we have Virtus Pro. They're going to go into a major best of 3 series, and I can't wait. So welcome back to the broadcast. Vikraman, how's it going, man?
Hey Blaze, it's going really well. I'm excited to see this game. These are two strong teams, and it's actually really hard for me to make an exact prediction of what's going to happen here, because in the previous game we had two teams that played very differently. Alliance more with the, we want big team fights, we just want our individual skill to shine through and just dominate you. Fnatic more of the composed, will sort of push down, split push, find our plan and execute it. TLVP, very different. Both teams like to go in, like to make plays, especially with their explosive middle players. So if there's one position I would watch all game, it's their number 2s, Korok and Vigos. Two players that play mid very, very similarly. They get quick-moving heroes, and they want to just blow the game out.
Wow.
Look for Queen of Pain, look for Puck, Storm Spirit. These are all things that could come into play.
There's a lot of other great high-tier supports as well. Look at these bans. A Templar Assassin, a Naix, and a Chaos Knight taken out opens up whatever the heck Virtus Pro wants. Right now they're picking up Chaos Eye's Nature's Prophet, but Team Liquid pretty much have the pick of the litter. They could go for, they're going for the Nyx Assassin right now. Both Fluff and Ix Mike have been running that very effectively, and along with it, the Keeper of the Light. A great salve to combine these two together. Reliable stuns, follow up with the damage, but Virtus Pro's ready for it. They answer back with a Gyrocopter and a Bane. So many different options on the field here. So honestly, I think both teams are very, very comfortable with picking up these high-tier heroes. It's just going to be how the matchups work themselves out. Team Liquid can't put all their eggs in one basket. They can't just drop down and say, hey, we want one super number 1 farmer, because Bane has that lockdown potential. I don't know.
You think no PL?
It's difficult.
I think it could happen.
I mean, the Gyrocopter is there as a carry to suppress him and make sure the illusions aren't as effective, but we just know how darn strong Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lantern Lands can be, and if Team Liquid wants it, I don't think they're going to hesitate no matter what they're up against. And
well, they're trying to think about it right now, because of course VP have found 3 heroes. This was an interesting ban phase. I'm glad you highlighted it. The TA getting banned out in the first phase. Already VP sort of seeking to impinge upon Korok a little bit there, and the Lifestealer that TC plays very well. Lifestealer also one of the tier 1 heroes, really. Meanwhile, TL with this Chaos Knight ban is very interesting, because a lot of teams will actually go for the IO, but here they felt confident, we can let the IO go through as long as we take its primary pair out. So they clearly don't want that Chaos Knight leaping around with IO, but I actually don't think they'll, obviously they won't take IO here. They're going to let it go to the second phase, and we'll see if it actually gets banned out. And both teams securing heroes they love. I was going to say watch for who gets the puck, because, God, I'm blanking right now. Vigos likes playing, actually we don't have Vigos in this game, I just noticed.
that would be Empire, bro. Anyways,
so
yeah, Tame the Wilds.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Tame
cool,
My Wild.
cool. I'll take it, man.
He likes playing the puck.
Yeah, he's
Korok
good with
likes
it.
playing the puck. And we could see a lot of Korok, obviously. Puck is almost his best hero, I would say. And then Ix Mike, his Keeper of the Light, is very, very excellent. Nature's Prophet for KSI, Gyro for Airman. Gyro is actually basically the only hero you can confidently ban against Airman, because he loves playing that Gyrocopter. He's really, really good with it. And then Bane, obviously a great hero for NS.
Yeah, for those that are wondering, as far as what happened between Empire and Virtus Pro as far as making that rank 4 connection, although they both had the same number of wins, in their head-to-head match previously in the season, Virtus Pro 2-1'd Empire, and therefore moved on forward, had a higher ranking, comparatively speaking, and as such have been invited to the playoffs here to take on Team Liquid for this first match, and obviously both teams drafted up really, really powerfully. I mean, the mid, I'm not going to say guaranteed Korok will win it with a pug, but he certainly won't lose it. And along with that, the top lane, the defensive tri lane, Keeper of the Light, Nyx Assassin, I mean, that is just the most frustrating combo to deal with. And even Nature's Prophet is probably going to relegate himself to the jungle just to let it go and say, hey, you guys have your tri lane, you'll win it, and we'll just have to proceed through with a better, stronger mid to late.
Yeah, and VP can do that. We do see them playing very, very well, especially when they have Bane for NS. If they do get something like the Leshrac to pair up with this, it could be a very, very strong roaming lineup. One of the important things in this matchup for me is this 4 and 5 from VP and how they interact with each other. By the way, we do see the Phantom Lancer banned out, so they don't want to see Liquid pick that up for TC. TC is an excellent laner. This tri-lane would be completely impenetrable. Not only is Nyx Coddle PL a strong tri-lane on the basics, TC is maybe the best laning carry. I think people have started saying that, and I totally agree with them. Watch NS and Arsar. They're two players who are incredibly talented at playing support. Two of the best supports, I think. But they haven't quite, since Arsar's been added to the team, they haven't quite gotten acting as a pair of two that well in every game. When they do, VP dominate. When they don't, they struggle a little bit. So we're going to have to watch the execution of the support pair. Because the other thing I wanted to point out is that the first game is very, very important in this series. These are two teams that I would be slightly concerned with, sort of, if they lose the first game, especially if they dramatically lose the first game, the mentality.
Yeah.
Because we've seen Liquid sort of get down after a couple losses. Bulba, after they lost to EG a couple days ago, made like a lot of posts on the Team Liquid forum just being like, wow, I'm really beating myself up after this loss. And you can't do that. In a best-of-3 series, you have to go right into that game 2 and be ready to just bounce back. And so we'll have to watch if the team that loses actually manages to bring it back in the second game.
Absolutely. So I really like these banning phases. Both teams picking up, banning out a certain role that they obviously don't want to just hand away easily to the opposition, but then backtracking with their third ban to something that could be considered overpowered, that would generally see a first phase ban or something that synergizes with it. So backtracking to the IO, making sure that that's not going to work with the Gyrocopter. Backtracking to the Phantom Lancer, they're making sure that those top tier heroes are still not slipping on through all the way through the draft. But the offlane banned out, Clockwork and Darkseer taken out, and along with that the mid lane, Magnus and Nightstalker in turn. So really, really solid bans there, but I don't think they could have seen this one coming. The Dragon Knight does get picked up for Virtus Pro. As far as laning, they have a couple different options. Dragon Knight is a solid mid if he does get his bottle early enough, or Gyrocopter has been able to pick up the mid lane. Either way, I think they're going to be going for a 3.5-1-0 strategy. Prophet in the jungle, 2 supports down on bottom. Technically could go duels, but generally that's just going to weaken out the presence of that bottom lane. Either way, they have a lot of potential moving on into mid to late, as I was mentioning, because they have 2 very scalable core heroes.
So do you think, Blaze, that it's going to be the DK mid for TMW? I think we usually see them putting Airman on the Dragon Knight and maybe Tame My Wild mid Gyro?
Yeah, I definitely could see the Gyro. I mean, of course, Airman does like the Gyro as well, but pretty much in this situation is who they want to get more experience, who they want to get more gold. The tri-lane carry is always going to be able to obtain that gold earlier on. I prefer personally the Dragon Knight mid because you'll get to that level 16 faster. You'll be able to clear ancient stacks with red form, slow down people with the blue form. Those things coming into play really increase it. Or your Elder Dragon form.
Yeah.
And then I think that could be really, really promising. But Dragon Knight's probably easier to shut down compared to Gyrocopter as well. So it's really different options, different opinions, and it comes down to the players and how confident they feel with each individual hero, which, as you said, Illidan loves that DK.
He does love that DK. We've seen him play some incredibly unusual DK builds, too, like the no Dragon Breath DK. I don't know if we'll be treated to that this game, but he definitely, I think he made some forum posts on, like...
He swears by that build. He swears by it. And he always
does,
will.
So we'll have to see if that does happen. TC, meanwhile, going for this very solid anti-mage pickup. They did have the Phantom Lancer banned out. I think they probably still would have gone for it. So even with this Bane, I mean, I think they're still going to primarily rely on anti-mage to carry. And the other thing is, did we have a Clockwork ban? Yes, we did.
Yeah,
so that Clockwork for Bulba, a potential wild card in this matchup. It's one of his best heroes. They're still looking for a hero for Bulba here, actually. And what do you think they'll go with for this last pick?
Well, now that they're running against a tri-core lineup, 3 very, very scalable heroes, they got to change their game a little bit. They're not going to play a standard, just pick this guy up and put him on the off-lane suicide there. They could see something like, TC and Fluff both play a great Windrunner, and they could mix their lanes up a little bit with that. But, honestly, they can just pick up whatever they want and try to put pressure out early. Bulba plays a very, very wide variety of heroes. A lot of them wouldn't come into play in this draft, in this laning situation. Like, I don't think a tanker would really hit the field, but it's worth mentioning that he is really one of the most spread out players as far as hero base, and so he has a lot of different options up his sleeve. In these next 8 seconds, they're going to pick the Weaver, and I think that's a solid pick. It has a lot of great functional potential as far as going into the late game and also surviving on that off lane.
So it's okay. So it's support Gyrocopter for NS. We're gonna have Arsart on the Bane, Taimai Wild in the mid on the Dragon Knight, and a farming Alchemist. So I was actually the one thing I was flipping around in my mind was, will they run the Alchemist as a support and then Gyrocopter, or will they run Gyrocopter as a support? So they are going with that. Gyrocopter, a damage dealing support, basically. Like, his job as a support is to drop down a homing missile just to sort of misposition the other team, and then rocket barrage on top of it to just deal tons and tons of damage. My issue here is that unless they land sort of, they don't have that fantastic initiation tools other than basically Nightmare into Unstable Concoction.
Yeah.
So depending on how carefully Bulba plays this, he might actually survive and even thrive in this lane.
Yeah, I think that he won't have too much issue until we hit the mid game. Really, when the Fiend's Grip comes down, I think is going to be a much bigger factor. TC, Bulba, both picking up heroes that, although they're very mobile, although they can dish out a ton of damage in the right situation, both of them are vulnerable to hard lockdown disables, and that's just what Bane and Dragon Knight bring to the table, as well as, to an extent, Alchemist, since you cannot disjoint that stun either. So, in that position, TC and Bulba in teamfights are going to have to watch their health bars extremely carefully, especially the time-lapse timing from Bulba, because there is that lockdown, and it can be disastrous for them if they do get picked off.
Absolutely. It looks like we're heading towards a level 1 engagement, and I actually kind of favor Liquid for that. I think they have the tools. Yeah, why not? I mean, TC obviously is not going to be huge, and there's a lot of stuns that can get thrown the other way, but they do have Illuminate, which is great.
Going on through, they get the Nightmare, they're charging up the Concoction. We're going to see Fluff not throwing at that stun yet, trying to wait it out. There's the Shukuchi coming on through, but NS doing so much damage with that barrage, picking up a quick first blood, and the Liquid turns tail and runs.
Yeah. No, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, Anti-Mage, what's he got? The Keeper Light has to stand and deliver. I honestly feel that VP just had so much more.
No, you were totally right. I don't know why I said that. But that's a good start for VP, and that's going to be something they're going to be threatening all the time, which is Bane's Nightmare lasts so long, even at level 1, that it means a free Unstable Concoction. So anybody they catch out with that is really in some trouble. It'll have to be very careful play from Bulba. And in fact, I think we might see a Weaver-based aggressive tri-lane. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And then Korok in the middle, and TC up solo top.
Yeah, and he's 1v0 right now, so that's going to take a little bit of time before Nature's Prophet actually realizes. And no, KSI is actually already making his way up there. He didn't skill Teleport, he did skill the Treants for a little bit early scouting, but he's in a great position knowing that they were probably going to go for this aggressive try. In this position here, it's very difficult to contest these 3 heroes in a tri-lane. There is a lot going on, but they're certainly going to try. They're charging up, going for that Concoction, but a nice stun from the Nyx. NS is still in position, dropping the barrage, and Ix Mike will fall again. Just too vulnerable in this early time period. Once they hit level 2, once they hit level 3, these heroes will have a lot more potential, but right now, all they need to do is get in Nightmare range, and suddenly they are completely on the back foot.
I actually think that this this aggressive try is a little bit questionable. They're not going to find the levels, and that sleep into Unstable Concoction right now is just dominating Ix Mike.
Yeah.
2 deaths now for him already, and TL really starting on the back foot here. I'm not sure how productive. Wow, are they rotating over? We actually have Ix Mike. Yeah. They're going to move over
Bulba
again.
off lane.
So
That's what they're going to do.
Faked out twice, basically.
But fortunately, they did waste 2 Sentry Wards. So in this position here, Arzart just now picking them up. He'll have them coming on through on the Courier, but not before the bottle is delivered to the mid lane for the Dragon Knight. So in this position, Bulba is counting a couple minutes extra where he will be able to survive just a little bit more on this off-lane position. But with those Sentry Wards, they have opened up the creep camp, and they're going to start neutral pulling starting around the 2nd or 3rd minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is smart. Liquid have made the decisions they've made now are correct, but it's taken them time to get here, and time is what VP want. This is 4 of these heroes can reward picking up gold on them. NS is going to play he's obviously not going to steal farm from anybody, but Gyro does scale. And they have 3 heroes, basically, 3 cores, in addition to the Gyrocopter with potential upside later. So VP, they kind of have all the time in the world so far to just get this Dragon Knight to where he's in a good position. This Alchemist will always be a threat with this. You can see he's leveled Unstable Concoction before the 2nd rank of Grievel's Greed.
Yeah.
So giving up a substantial amount of gold just to make even more of a threat for Bulba. And they placed down a third sentry, so you can see Bulba, he's not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, they were going for that timing. They wanted to go in. I thought they could get the Nightmare. Unfortunately, they wasted the Concoction, and Illidan tanked in the face, but he has plenty of regeneration, and he should be able to get to his level 6. Once Chemical Rage is online, he won't have to really worry about his stayability nearly as much. And yeah, they have that sentry, and they're going to have another one, so they have about 6 minutes more control over Bulba, putting him in a very rough spot.
Sure. And Liquid, I talked about mentality being important. They just have to, I think they're still very, very, very much in this. Anti-Mage can do a lot of work here. They just have to sort of hunker down, be like, okay, we took 2 losses, our supports will start behind, that's okay, we can still make it work. And I think they can make it work. By no means was this a draft loss or anything. But we could see trouble for Bulba. He's going to walk in, he doesn't have Shuki yet, 7 seconds left, they're going to put this
the Nightmare, they have the homing missile, and the Concoction will follow on through. I don't think he can get out of this. Like 100% the stun, and then the stun follow-up. He's underneath the center still, and the right clicks. Actually, is he out of it? He was just barely outside the Sentry Ward range, and that's all he needs, is that tiny time frame where he can go for the 522 MS boost from the Shukuchi. And
honestly,
it's very, very difficult position, but, you know, luck is a small part of it, and in this position, they've wasted a lot of mana. Bane doesn't have all that much to work with, and so it's going to force out a sell from him after he dived a little bit under the tower. And although Illidan's farming away nicely on the creeps, he's not going to find at least some farm on the heroes.
Yeah, Bulba just barely ending up outside of sentry range, so the gyrocopter rockets didn't hit him at all. Otherwise, this was a dead Weaver.
Yeah.
I mean, Liquid, they hang on for now. And
theoretically, they could have placed a second sentry, but I'm not sure.
I don't think... You think it just hit creeps? You're probably right. I don't know.
No.
The one thing Liquid go into this game knowing is that they know they're in TI3. They can lose this and still feel like they had a good day. Whereas VP, they're not on today's invite list. I mean, more likely than not, I still think they will be invited. But they don't have that confidence going in. They still have something to prove, at least until tomorrow.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that if they really, really wanted that kill, they could have dropped a sentry down underneath the stunned Weaver, but he was outside vision range, and they weren't really as quick on the ball as they needed to be to net that kill. And in some ways, I think it might have been okay that they didn't drop the Sentry Ward down. By the way, there is a big initiation on mid lane. Fluff should be able to get this stun to start things off, but do they really have the follow-up? Like, Korok doesn't have Dream Coil yet. There is going to be the Waning Rift. There's the Illuminate, but Tamo Wild so darn tanky will bottle on through and survive. Now turning around with a stun. No, just a Dragon's Breath to hit on both of them. He survives, and here comes NS. Gonna connect with the rocket. Actually gonna be able to jaunt away. Phase shift, but Korok gonna maybe tank the missile. Incoming KSI. He's gonna get the phase shift up in time, though. Will be able to survive through that. Here comes the Sprout, but only catching out Ike's Mike, and high ground damage isn't gonna be sufficient to actually contest this directly. Fluff team peeping back into the fray, and they've committed a lot of time. Dragon Knight taking a walk of shame back to base, and a couple of supports rotating in for no return kill.
Hardly a walk of shame. I mean, TMW got a kill on Nyx Assassin and didn't die when there was a 3-person attempt on his life.
Sure. It's just a difficult position to be in. I mean, he is moving up the rank 6.5. He is happy to pick up that free Nyx kill, but it's just in that position. They would have loved to be able to bring down Korok, and he's just such a slippery hero in general. Like, the way that he plays it, he has a phase shift, actually going on in. The Dragon Knight's damage over time, last right click will do it. Pops off the form, and honestly, Korok could not have seen that coming, or he could have, but he just certainly didn't, because that Dragon Tail setting up the range so that the stun and the damage was there, and a free, easy solo kill for him.
After that great escape, to just die to the solo Dragon Knight is like, as certain other casters might put it, you might start asking yourself what you're doing with your life. No, I think Korok's still going to feel fine. He's had a good mid lane. He still has the advantage slightly, even with that death. But unfortunately, Liquid, they've tried and failed to get this tanky Dragon Knight down. And Tame My Wild now up to level 8, and so far, the greedy approach that VP have taken has been vindicated. I mean, ultimate up for Airman. You see he's actually stopped spamming the unstable concoction ranks. He has his rank 3 Grievel's Greed and his ultimate. Now this Alchemist becomes pretty difficult to gank too if Liquid wanted to do that, because you do have great, pretty good movement speed, great health regen on the Chemical Rage, and Liquid are just going to take the trade with the tier 1 tower up here.
Yeah, most definitely. They're putting pressure on the tier 1. They do get the last hit on TC, moving him faster and faster towards that Battle Fury, and that's got to be, like, right now the silver lining for Liquid. They just got destroyed when it comes down to those mid lane dives. Losing the Nyx Assassin, he's only level 3. Losing Korok, tons of experience for the Dragon Knight. Comparing the mids, level 8 DK versus a level 6 Puck. I mean, Korok in a rough patch. He's like one of the individuals that can survive on through this and come out on top later, but for right now, Tame My Wild is just as hard to kill as the Alchemist, in my opinion. The Dragon's Blood gets ranked up next, and from here, he's getting armor, he's getting HP, and he has a great strength gain. Right now, it's 2.8. It's not the highest you've seen, but with the fact that he's been getting solo mid experience, he is going to be just as difficult to deal with directly. And despite picking, as we kind of talked about, greedy, scalable heroes, their laning phase has triumphed for them extremely effectively.
Absolutely. I like that their two most potentially vulnerable heroes, so the Dragon Knight in this sort of vulnerable mid position, potentially even Airman down here, are two tanky heroes. They're heroes that are actually pretty tough for the combined forces of a Nyx Assassin and a Puck to take down. And so VP have sort of created a firewall on their top two farm priority players that Liquid is going to have a hard time with their sort of early aggressive, let's open the game up style of actually doing what they want. The flip side is, and the good news for Liquid, TC is having a good time farming. So he's got 50 last hits, 9 denies in 7 minutes, which is very, very good. We know that TC is an excellent laner, gets those last hits, pressures out people who are in their lane, and consequently, KSI actually hasn't even spent that much time in this lane. He spent some time, but he's also teleported around, trying to kill Korok, stuff like that. So far, this Nature's Prophet has been fairly quiet, and it seems unlikely to me that VP are actually going to kill TC before he even finishes the Battle Fury. So that's the good news. And Anti-Mage can outfarm a lot of people on this map. The one person that he can't outfarm is Alchemist.
Yeah. So it's going to be a difficult position to be in for Liquid. The Battle Fury will help them greatly, but no, I'm not too sure. Right now we are having some connection issues for Tame My Wild. I know people are going to start screaming DDoS, but let's not jump to that conclusion until it becomes apparent that is the case. But yeah, no, in this state, Virtus.pro are going to be in a commanding lead in the game. Nature's Prophet has a lot of push potential now that he has those treants up, and they can go and batter down a tower pretty quickly. They don't have the acid spray to help them out in that sense, but right now they're playing a lineup that can easily make it to the late game and thrive in that circumstance, but they still have the early momentum where they can bring down towers, especially with this Green Dragon form up. The second one will come up in 45 seconds, and I think that timing window is important for Virtus.pro to capitalize on. Go for the Green Dragon with the treants to tank it up, and suddenly you're going to be able to just get this huge gold advantage. Right now, sitting at almost 1,500, and it's going to be moving in that direction much higher if they can just keep their capitalization going. In response, though, Liquid does have a couple of tricks up their sleeve. They do have a rank 2 Illuminate, soon to be rank 3, and with that a Dream Coil to set it up. I really think they can win a team fight if they position themselves carefully, but it takes a ton of preparation and a great coordination.
Yeah. I actually feel like both teams don't have that much of an incentive to change the way it's going. Liquid, it's important for the Anti-Mage to get in. Bulba's doing... How is Bulba doing? He's doing okay, I would say. Not incredibly, but not awfully. And as long as TC's farming, I think Liquid are okay. And as long as Alchemist and Dragon Knight are doing well, I don't think VP feels that much pressure to push. The one lane I'd say that VP would really want is the one lane that's going to be hardest to get, which is top. If they could get this tier 1 top tower down, this area becomes basically rotating Bane, Gyro, and Alchemist once he has Shadow Blade Free Fire Zone. And then it becomes difficult for TC to farm. The problem is, pushing this tier 1 tower down involves starting at the tier 2, because obviously Liquid brought this tier 1 down top. And getting mid or getting bot is nice, but I don't think it's actually critical for Virtus.pro at this stage, because it doesn't really get them the map control that they would want against what Liquid are doing.
Yeah. So in this position here, Prophet did go for Basilius. I feel that really indicates some of his intentions. He needs more mana to be more active and mobile on the map, whether putting pressure out on different lanes or moving in to start going in for the push. The Wrath of Nature early on is not really easy for his mana pool. When you consider 160 for the Treants, 150 for that ulti, until you get some points of teleport where you can just bounce back and forth to the fountain like a Tinker with the Boots of Travels, it really is difficult for him to keep that going. So the Basilius helps that quite a bit, and they can follow up with the push. I think in this position here, Nature's Prophet is a shoo-in for going for the mech early. KSI does this build pretty frequently, and in this position, they don't have any better alternative. So he'll go very high utility, Basilius, Mechanism. They'll be able to push hard with it and keep their, most importantly, keep the carries alive and active.
Right. And we do have Tame My Wild back. He's saying go, so hopefully we will get this going. It's a shame that we had to have that pause, but he'll be back in. And yeah, I agree with you. I honestly think Liquid are still okay. They may start feeling pressure to try to make something happen. And the question will be, will that dig them further in the hole or peel them out?
It's difficult in this position. I mean, it's a little bit shaky whenever you get into a pause situation where you're not really... You get time to think about it, and if Liquid were continually stressed out and under pressure where they weren't really sure what to do next, the pause certainly helps them get back into the game and kind of rebound their mentality so that they can start making movements that they intend to and so on and so forth. But at the same time, I'm thinking Virtus.pro have kind of the same intentions. We already see them making a move. Gyrocopter and Bane putting a little bit more pressure, just at least in their presence on the mid lane here, and they're not too far off from actually trying to go for a pick on the puck. It's difficult to do under the circumstances, but not impossible, and we actually do see an attempt to go for the Nightmare, but phased on out, and Fluff immediately responding with the TP. This is something throughout the entire Season 4 we've praised Liquid for time and time again, is their immediate response to danger by teleporting to the lane that needs it most. And
yeah, let's note, in Seoul, just performance in this particular tournament, Liquid only one loss in the entire length of the tourney to Fnatic, and that was close.
Oh, mid lane, we do see a nice silence. Great Waning Rift coming out. Dragon Knight won't be able to get his stun off despite popping off his Dragon form, and now can bottle up to about full HP, and they can put some pressure on the tower, but they need to go as 5. Oh, actually the regeneration rune will help quite a bit. Still, time is ticking away. That ulti is a decent cooldown, and so the duration of it, they need to make the most of it in these next 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think they'll continue trying. The thing is, if Korok messes up even slightly and cops a Nightmare, he's dead. The puck is dead. So they just want to sort of create that error and exploit it. So far, though, Korok, good composure, not actually dying, not copying any of those sort of stuns or anything like that.
Good job not dying. Okay, we see Nightmare into that stun. Nice movement from Ix Mike, the phase shift. He actually gets a Waning Rift and will get on out of there. Holy crap, Ix Mike with the big A-click saves, shifting the Nightmare over and keeping Korok up and fighting.
That was beautiful, and Korok, to be fair, also played very well, stunning. The instant he pops out of phase shift, oh no!
He got stunned, but honestly, it's only Tama Wild, so I think he's okay. In this position, takes the Brain Sap, still will fall back. There's the stun, gone to Fluff. There is also going to be a Dream Coil. Illuminate hitting on both of them here. The missile will be phase shift, but can they do any follow-up? Here's Boba to try to make it happen with the Shukuchi going on through. Couple right clicks on the NS, but it won't happen. Instead, they are just too afraid of the Nature's Prophet turning things around, and they are going to fall back from here.
No, that was a good fallback. Actually.
Yeah, actually, absolutely.
I don't trust Boba actually getting a kill and getting out alive.
Yeah, he's only level 5.
It's not worth it to get one kill and die right now as Weaver.
Yeah, he only is level 5, so it's a difficult position, and you don't want to be just throwing your life away when you desperately need that time lapse. In that position there, I didn't think they should go on in, but I'm just saying they at least set themselves up for the opportunity where they forced more response from Virtus.pro.
Yeah. One of my questions going into this game was, would VP sort of be, what form would they be in? Because, of course, Virtus.pro hasn't been playing that many games lately. At least not at the, not at the tournament level, of course. They weren't at EMS because they had passport issues for Airman. And so not being at EMS didn't give them that practice against other top-tier teams there. And they just haven't been in that many, a lot of tournaments that they were in sort of wrapped up, or obviously this tournament moved into its playoff phase. But they're looking really good. Very, very crisp play. I expected Liquid to have a little bit more overall coordination just because they already played so many games in the last few days. But VP have looked very strong in that respect. Yeah,
very much so. I honestly, in this position here, Virtus.pro, starting out with the laning phase, the way they've broken down the team fights and just picked apart Liquid early on, it's something that you don't often see when teams go for heroes that aren't as effective in the early game, but every single tool, every single utility that they each have for their early game, they put to work here. Cool, innovative strat, running these heroes that have good nukes despite having the limitations of not having extended lane presence, and using it very effectively. Concoction, Barrage, Dragonfire, or Breathe Fire, whatever you want to call it, it's just they have so much output, and they're using it to great effect.
Yeah, and big change just happened on VP's end. I think the Shadow Blade on Airman marks a big potential turn, because they're going to start trying to get kills on TC now. They haven't so far. They haven't made any attempts to incur into that area. I think the Shadow Blade gives them the tool to do
right click, there's a stun, and there's going to be big right clicks. KSI coming on in. The blink will not come on through in time. The Wrath of Nature was perfect. And the base attack time of that Alchemist swinging away and bringing him down before the stun even expired.
Yep. I mean, exactly. So that Shadow Blade, suddenly with the Wrath of Nature, it's enough to just blow TC out of the water right there. And taking a hit on TC, he still doesn't actually have the Battle Fury yet.
He's pretty close, but
any death now, considering all of his gold is unreliable gold, it's really, really tough, and it sets Liquid back more than you'd think, because now they always have to live in fear of Airman.
Yeah, most definitely. This is going to be much more of a threat. As far as Sentry spam, Keeper Light can manage it, but he would much prefer to just rush out that mechanism. Nyx Assassin, it's kind of the same idea, but he has his limitations. Getting mobile into the teamfight up against a Geometry Sight, which, honestly, the Dragon Knight and the Alchemist, either one of them can carry very effectively. We'll see if the deny comes out. It does not, so Radiant is going to be able to pick up that kill. And Virtus Pro, they're going to get Dream Coiled on in. Tamo Wow pops off a stun, but he should be in too much trouble to actually get stunned out. There is a nice Nightmare, but here comes that damage. They're going to follow it up with the Illuminate, a couple more right clicks, and they finish the job on him. Actually following it up on the Bane, which is nice, because Boba has that time-lapse available. They're going to turn this around nicely, but not before Illidan goes for that unstable concoction. Locks down that Keeper Light. Can they go further? They actually sprouted under the tower. Boba in a terrible spot. Shikuchi's on the way just barely. Is going to have to dodge out that missile with his next Invis. Nevertheless, this was a back-and-forth exchange. Liquid wanted to get a lot of it. I think they got a lot more than they expected, though. So I think they can't complain about this position. They had 0 kills. Now they're up to 2, and at least that's giving them some waves to kind of throw around in this match.
They, at this point, because Airman is so dangerous, they need Boba to do something.
Yeah.
So getting 2 kills on him, very, very nice. Just look at this Weaver. I mean, Boots of Speed, Bracer, Basilius. Yeah. You're going to need more than that. Like, certainly. You're going to need more than one carry to carry this game. And Weaver's their second option. He needs to be there. I liked that. I thought it was okay from Liquid. I'm still just incredibly concerned overall. I just feel like VP are very, very solid, and at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes are just terrifyingly dangerous.
Drum up on Dragon Knight. It's going to give more auras, more potential for them to push, for them to go for teamfight-oriented kills. And yeah, they're getting more and more threatening by the minute. We're going to see a smoke come on through. Arzark going to lead the charge up here and try to pick off TC. They do not have Fiend's Grip, but they have the Concoction charging. There's a Sentry, though. They know he's right here, going to try to dodge out, but no. The Blink on cooldown. Nice Blinding Light, but it's not going to be enough here. They're going to lock him down, and Ix Smite with him. Really, really good movement from Virtus Pro as a whole, using the global presence of the Nature's Prophet. Now they're jumping on in. 4-man, 2 kills, and going to be able to push down this tier 1.
I mean, does it matter if you know that they're there when you can't do anything about it? And my god, VP do so much damage, just a terrifying amount of damage. And I'm starting to almost revise my opinion. I said at the beginning, Liquid don't have that big of a disadvantage just from the draft, but I think I was wrong, because the clever thing VP did here, and it's taken a little time to, we actually missed a kill of Tame My Wild solo on Nyx Assassin in the middle, just because there's no tower here to protect from it. VP just barreling down the top at the same time. What I was saying is, I think Liquid in that draft were like, oh, Gyro, so we have Airman's hero. And then the DK comes down and they're like, oh, we have another hero that Airman can play well, but I guess he'll probably still be on the Gyro. And then VP, with that Alchemist pick, are like, no, just kidding. It's a support Gyro, and we're going to rack on the damage with this Alchemist and just have a team that blows you up. TMW is stunned down.
It should be locked down here. They did, unfortunately, waste the Vendetta, but nevertheless, they're going to find the kill. That was a good movement from them, but here comes Illidan turning it around. He does get stunned out by the Carapace. Same thing with the Bane. Still has most of his cooldowns available, though, and he's going to be going for more. Looking for Fluff specifically. Gets a double Impale. Keeps on walking away. The Shadow Blade will give lots of movement speed, but he doesn't want to go too deep. So they do actually get a... In the end, I guess that exchange can be considered a 1-for-1 to an extent. I mean, the Keeper Light did get dropped down in the middle of it, but they picked off the Dragon Knight, which is a great, great pick for them.
They need... I don't know. I mean, yes, I obviously can't contest your statement that it's a good pick for them to get the Dragon Knight, but VP, again, this greedy build, so many people are so dangerous that you kind of have to, like, kill more than just the Dragon Knight.
Yeah.
Because, alright, you kill TMW.
But how can they accomplish that?
Is doing well. Yeah.
It's so difficult.
I don't know.
In this
the problem is TC, he has the Battle Fury, but he has to run away whenever Illidan appears. Whenever Airman is on the board, this is just a fleeing anti-mage.
And more importantly,
4,180 gold on the Elk.
More importantly, when he's not on the board, if you don't have vision of this guy, he's stalking you up. And we do actually see the stun. Unfortunately, missing. Going to throw out a
miss.
He should throw it out. Actually got stunned by his own thing. He's probably going to fall here. He wanted to throw it, and he just didn't have the vision. Instead, they wait up on top of the high ground, give him nothing to toss to, and he gets to set up his own demise.
That was so weird. He had opportunities to throw it, and he just wanted to throw it on the best target. That's what we call that is the perfect is the enemy of the good, right? Like, he should have just thrown it out on anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I believe the voice acting of his character says, throw it already, and probably he should have done that. Actually, that cost him a death there. So I said that Liquid needed to kill more core heroes. There we go. They do kill the Dragon Knight and the Alchemist. It's a critical breathing room for them. Critical. Yeah.
The fact that they're laying sentries down more actively is a little bit more scary for Illidan, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to deter him from actually keeping the pressure rolling. In this sense, he can't make a mistake like that over and over again, but it was a very weird circumstances that he died under, and now that he has a BKB, he could care less how it plays on out. He'll just jump in, won't worry about stuns, and honestly, he can go for a pickoff with a fully charged concoction on any of these supports, no matter how many people are right next to them. They can go in 1 versus 3, get a kill, he has to waste a BKB charge for it, but he will keep his gold momentum rolling.
Right. And in an engagement, I just still feel like he's going to stun himself again. It doesn't matter, actually, but he will miss that stun. Good blink out by TC there, avoiding getting caught in another very hairy situation. I feel like Liquid have to avoid fights. I just don't see how they can live against the incredible damage. NS is putting out so much damage in these fights, and because Liquid's primary targets are so tanky, they have no time to delegate to this gyrocopter, and consequently you see he's 2-0-2. It's a support gyro that hasn't died, and in every fight is getting off spell after spell after spell.
Yeah. Most definitely. TC trying to put some pressure on towards the mid lane there, but he doesn't actually know that the Bane is right nearby. If that Fiend's Grip could come through, it would be big. He gets it. TC blinks to the south, and instead is right underneath it. Shift queuing the Brain Sap. They will kill him. They get a pick just between the two of them in a great position there, and Gyrocopter takes the tier 1 tower up top. They just are completely dominating over the entire battlefield here, and honestly, Liquid doesn't have that much more venues for farm, not that many more opportunities for comeback. They are up against, effectively, a tri-core lineup at the very least, and in this sense, they are falling further and further behind. They are not getting TC the gold that he needs to, despite an early Battle Fury, and as such, they are just completely getting demolished.
They got a good Battle Fury timing. The issue is Anti-Mage post-Battle Fury, like, he still needs more items, and it's the more items that VP is attempting to make it impossible. One very, very smart thing that VP did, and I love this, is they didn't even bother harassing TC until they knew that they could kill him, and at that point they just, Arisar copying a lot of damage, they just don't have quite enough because of the level situation.
Didn't go for the Vendetta Strike, and now Illidan coming out through, BKB is active, and he gets that stun. One right click, bringing down the pony, bringing down Ix Mike on the Caper Light. Fluff will be able to TP on away, but, you know, still picking up a kill for absolutely nothing.
I don't know about that, BKB, but still, they do pick up a kill. They get Ix Mike yet again. They continue to make Liquid not feel safe, and VP... Oh, right. They didn't... Oh, actually, Korok.
Nah, he's fine.
No, Hairman's gonna stun himself again. But this is fine. When you're safe and you're ensconced in the Shadowblade stealth, you're fine, even if you do stun yourself. And they waited until just before TC's Battle Fury, and then they piled on the pressure. And as Mike Cop is...
Yeah, I think this is going to be finally a kill for Liquid. They do pop off the ultimate of TC just to make sure of it. They do take a few hits from the Wrath of Nature and the call down, but in general, they're happy to actually be able to get a nice bounty. But up on the top lane, there is going to be the dust popped off on the Vendetta Fluff, so they're going to be able to sprout him on in, and they should be able to finish it off. Doesn't even hit the stun. Goes to too far to the north, and yeah, you can have some mana. You can get chocolate all you want, but there's a gigantic ball of, I don't even know what kind of chemicals, flying towards his head, so he's going to be dropped down quickly, and now Illidan has enough presence, has enough of a threat to be able to just counter-push out on this Tier 1 tower without really any issue, despite being 1v2.
All we know about the chemicals is that they're volatile.
Yeah, very unstable.
We don't have any more data about the chemicals in Alchemist's concoction. But nonetheless, they're volatile but effective so far. He has gotten himself killed with them, but he's also participated in 9 of their 13 kills with them. And right now, Liquid, they're just really... Oh man, TC's so low.
Yeah.
Blink out.
Bad spot. Bad spot. Bad spot. Will it come? He actually doesn't have any vision. Well, actually, he does have... Oh, it's so close, but no. He couldn't actually see him from this position here. He was just outside of the ward sight range, and Nighttime Bane is not going to be able to see anything. So that was so darn close. And I think Bane even saw that there weren't any Ancients there, but did not know about the fact that Anti-Mage was literally just right there. So that's unfortunate, not finding that pick off there, but they still have so much control of this position, especially as we see the wards come up. We saw a bunch of defensive wards from Team Liquid, good movement there, and that worked for quite some time. And then following it up, I mean, there is that observer ward down on the river. There's one up on the ancient camp, or sorry, on just the rune spawn there. We're actually probably going to see a fight breakout. So you're back, and we see this big burst coming out from Ix Mike. He does get a nice blinding light off. Actually, will not be enough though with the Acid Spray continuing to do its work. They don't have detection. No, never mind. Trying to dust, but they actually are just outside of range. KSI wasting the dust, and unfortunately missing out the kill on the Nyx Assassin as a result of that, but they take the tier 2. They can probably take Roche. They can clear out all the outer tier towers, and there's nothing Liquid can really do.
It's just free gold for them every time IX Mike is in visual range. It's not that he's had such a bad game, he's just gotten preyed upon. 0, 7, and 3 on this Keeper of the Light. Half of VP's kills have been on this poor Keeper.
Korok in a bad spot. They will be able to phase blink, though, and I think he's in an okay enough position. He's just going to TP on out. They get some nice vision from KSI's trees, but not really going to be enough to actually lock down that little fairy dragon that could. Either way, he's going to come back on in for a Dream Coil, but he doesn't have a TP scroll, so it's going to be a bit belated. But they will probably go in a little bit long range, actually forcing out the time lapse already. I'm not sure if Bulba really should have made that move, but at least his Swarm didn't cost him any mana.
It's okay. Time-lapse is fairly short cooldown. The problem is that they might need it soon again, because just so much pressure.
Exactly, just moments
from
now.
TC, he's Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, he got hit by the homing missile, but will be able to blink out his Fiend's Grip. Nice ultimate from Korok, actually disconnecting that there. They use the Carapace, they use the stun, but here's Illidan on the front line. Chemical Rage still active, going to be able to burn down Mike. Now going in for the next target of choice. It was going to be Korok, but unfortunately Tamo Wild couldn't get in range despite his drum, didn't use the charges, and couldn't connect with that stun. Either way, following on through, they will be able to bring down this tier 2 tower, and yeah, with that they have complete control of the entire map. Full vision, and Liquid are on their last legs.
Yeah, kind of an intense fight there, considering only Mike died. But in the end, VP, they just prefer a clean-shaven man, and they want all mustaches to be eliminated, clearly, as they're just focusing very, very heavily on IX Mike. Illidan, in that case, like, they really don't want this blinding light coming through. That's the major factor. And so the Keeper of the Light just drops right at the beginning of every fight.
Yeah. And that's just been just it. Every single fight, he hasn't really stood a chance. And of course, he does have not the best armor and certainly not the best HP without the mechanism. But in this position, it's just the fact that he has to stand still to charge up that Illuminate sets him up so easy for predictable stuns. The homing missiles or the concoctions, Dragon Tails even, I mean, they all come into play here, and it really makes it difficult for anybody to be in the frontline position. They don't have a Brewmaster. They don't have any tanky hero that can just soak up some of the damage. Everybody is running away from the fight, whether it's Korok playing his slippery puck. Actually, Fluff is probably in a bad... Yeah, he's probably going to drop down here.
Yeah. I mean, he still has tier 1 boots.
Yeah.
Both of them.
But there's nothing
Mike and
to stop
Fluff
that.
Still have tier 1 boots. So they can't escape. And VP are correctly judging that, hey, Liquid can deal a lot of damage, but we deal way more damage. How can Liquid stop us? Well, Blinding Light would cause our 3 or 4 auto attackers, because NS, by the way, went heavy flak cannon even on support Gyro. So he's got a decent auto attack as well. Hey, if they Blinding Light us, suddenly we aren't really dealing damage to them for a while. But the guy who Blinding Lights us is trivially easy to kill, so why don't we take the Keeper out, and at that point they basically have to flee. They can't possibly fight us. And that's been true in every fight. TC, he has his Yasha, but I don't even know that Manta will turn this. I don't think it will.
Yeah. In this position, it's extremely difficult. I mean, Manta, and most of the spells you actually can't disjoint. So, I mean, as far as avoiding the homing missile or the concoction, those things will generally stay on target. And it's very difficult. We see Fluff just completely getting picked off. The Fiend's Grip coming on through. When you can't walk up into your own jungle safely, you know that you need to, first of all, get a completely different perspective on how you're trying to take control of an area. Obviously, they have it well warded, as Venomancer would say, but in this position... No, if you're a support, you've got this movement speed, you just can't jump into those kind of positions, and this is what, his like 5th death? Yeah, 0, 5, and 3. For a Nyx Assassin that's reliant on actually putting out pressure on kills. Down on bottom, TC is stunned up for quite some time, but it is going to be Korok that might save the day. There is going to be ultimate flying out from TC doing tons of damage, but that concoction will keep on going despite the blinks. Going in for more, they sprout in, Korok immediately staffing away, and he should have that blink in time, actually just getting recalled away. So he is fine and dandy, but still, every single time they try to put out pressure across the map, they're getting completely obliterated, and the kills just keep on rolling in for Virtus Pro, now looking at Roche.
Yeah. I mean, real talk, TC has died too much. 4 deaths for AM at this point is like 3 too many or so to be effective. You can't... The Unstable Concoction is actually quite good. One of the reasons Alchemist is surprisingly decent against Anti-Mage is actually that Unstable Concoction. A lot of stuns, if you sort of blink, you can dodge them, and you can't do it with an Unstable Concoction. It's like the Sven stun. Mike getting caught out again.
They have so much vision. They have wards everywhere. Look at the Radiant wards. I mean, they just can see him trying to go, hey, I'm going to illuminate something. Boom. We're ready for it. We get the disables, and we follow it up with the damage we need. So in that position there, they didn't even have to commit the right-clickers to a support kill. They just go in, okay, we'll Gyrocopter Bane. 2v1 done. And it's just those kind of positions. Liquid keeps on throwing their lives away, and this doesn't seem like there's going to be anything possible. They pick up Aegis on the Bane, for crying out loud.
They're
what the hell is
confident that there's no way to kill Alchemist and Dragon Knight that they're like, yeah, whatever, Aegis on Bane. At least then we know he'll be able to Fiendscript no matter what.
It's like,
I mean,
Arzard's got to be like, I've never held a gem or an Aegis before. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Keep in mind, I mean, TC, even with Chrysalis on Boba, TC is still really their only auto attack damage. So this tier 3 Enfeeble is actually going to reduce that substantially. Like, look at TC, he does about 180. That's going to get dropped down to
60 if it's maxed.
Yeah.
Wow, big damage coming on through back and forth, but Illidan could care less. He's got that AC, BKB, charging up with a maxed out Chemical Rage, and now Tame My Wild even wants some more. Doesn't want to stun out this spiky Nyx, but can pretty much go for whoever he wants. Still not choosing to rank up that ulti because, you know, what's stopping them from just continuing the push, doing the damage over time to the buildings, and now they're taking down the melee racks, and they can just walk away very, very comfortable with their position. I mean, Bulba can try to do some harassment here, but at best case, he, like, takes away a quarter of somebody's life. They're going in as for they really, really want something. Tame My Wild's ultimate is still active for a long time, though. Illidan on the front end, and that's doing a lot of damage. Fluff is already down. They're going to drop down the Keeper Light immediately after the fact, and closing in on Korak as well. All three just dying in moments. They're completely shredded, and they might as well call it here because they certainly don't have a chance to actually survive on through. Yeah, Bulba can avoid one stun. TC, hiding in the trees, can go over to the side chop, but they're just calling it now because, honestly, they cannot fight this directly, and these carriers are just getting bigger and bigger.
That fight was really hard to watch, frankly, because Liquid just blew up. VP came in with a stronger strategy, more overall considered. They constricted Bulba into the Weaver. He really didn't have that many other viable picks for himself because the Lone Druid was picked up. I think, was Darkseer still in the pool or was he banned out?
No, he was banned out second phase. Same with
so
Clockwork.
Darkseer was gone. Clockwork was gone, which is, I think, what Bulba really wanted. And so he got constricted into this Weaver. Usually we see TC play this. And the Weaver wasn't terribly effective, but it comes down to really the support pair. I said to watch whether NS and Arsart would coordinate. First off, they sure as hell did. This was fantastic coordination between these guys. So many of the early kills set up through the intersection of the Gyrocopter and the Bane. Secondly, let's talk about people who didn't coordinate well this game. Mike and Fluff looked pretty lost.
Yeah.
Like, starting with the tri-lane, the first blood, then the tri-lane bottom that was completely ineffectual. They leave, which was, at that point, that's the right decision. They couldn't stay there. They would just keep dying. They go to the top for a bit. They manage the lane a tiny bit. They get tier 1 tower, and then that's it. Neither this Nyx Assassin nor this Keeper of the Light did very much for the rest of the game. You end up with Keeper of the Light with 10 deaths, Nyx Assassin with 6 deaths. And you're feeding a team, you're feeding a greedy team, a gold-dependent team. And that gives them the gold that they need to just utterly crush you.
Yeah.
And that's what VP did here. Liquid, they've got to find a little bit of a stronger support for him in the second game, and a draft that favors their strengths better.
Yeah. So, in this position here, we do see that the score screen comes up with a dire victory. Obviously, that's not the case here. We're chalking it up. Virtus.pro takes game 1 here. We'll be trying to fix that in the replay to make sure that it doesn't say that, but either way, that's what it is. Everybody who watched the match knows that fact. That Virtus.pro, it wasn't even a close match. It was really just, over the course of this past 29 minutes, it's been brutal. Liquid torn apart, 10 deaths on the Keeper of the Light, 6 deaths on the Nyx Assassin, no farm beyond the Battle Fury Manta for TC. I mean, they were just under too much pressure too quickly, and although there were some individual good plays, as a whole, as a team, they kind of fell apart, and it's just, they really need to get their head in the game and move on forward with a much smoother and much more coordinated game 2.
Yep.
So that's going to be it for game 1. Going on into game 2 in just a few minutes, guys. Again, Virtus.pro taking it over, Team Liquid, and we'll be seeing if they can answer back, because right now Virtus.pro is on match point to move in towards winner's bracket, and that could be really, really good for their potential to actually take some money out of the tournament here. First, second, and third do take a prize, whereas fourth, unfortunately, does not. So at that stage, they're really, really gunning for the winner's bracket slot, and Liquid, they're going to have to pull something big out of the bag in order to answer back here. Either way, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Blaze and Vikrmond of the Premier League. We'll be going on into the second match, or second game of this second playoff match in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in.